Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back to Where the Road Rises with me, your host, Eileen Kerlin Walsh. Today, we are going to talk about that jewel in our crown, Moraine Valley Community College, with two proud alumni whose lives and careers were deeply influenced by our beloved college. Tom Costello has spent over 15 years in the IT support field and has been fascinated with how the internet works for as long as he can remember. He's a senior network engineer at Argonne National Laboratory, where he works in a wide variety of networking projects, usually involving firewalls and routers about the size of a small refrigerator. Tom spent 12 years in the United States Marine Corps as a data systems technician and systems chief. He earned his associates in computer and LAN technology from Moraine Valley. He got his bachelor's from Davenport University and his master's in administration from Central Michigan University. Our second guest, Tiffany Robinson, is a fellow trustee on Moraine Valley's board with me. Tiffany has the distinction of being the first person of color on the board. Tiffany got her associate's degree at Moraine Valley, her BA at Trinity Christian College, and is currently a Spanish teacher in the Chicago public school system. Tiffany wears a second hat as the trustee of the village of Robbins, the village she grew up on. And she has a family, which if she has any additional time, she is going to tell us about. So welcome, Tom and Tiffany. All right, let's get started with you, Tom. You have had a fascinating career path. Tell us how you grew up and how your educational path took you to Moraine Valley Community College.
Thanks, Eileen. So I'm very much a 90s child. When I was growing up in grade school, the internet was just starting to get big. The 90s Bulls were just winning every single year for pretty much my entire time through grade school. And so I found out very quickly that I really liked video games, the Bulls and the White Sox, and more and more with computers. And so I had a cousin that went to St. Lawrence over in Burbank, and he was working part-time doing some computer repair stuff back then, and he went on to do biomedical engineering and eventually more in the engineering field at Northwestern University. And so when I first went to his dorm room and he had, the real internet, back in the mid-90s, this was the fastest thing I've ever seen, and he had, I think it was that search for extraterrestrial life happening on his computer in the background screensavers, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And so all throughout grade school, I spent a lot of time tearing computers apart, pairing them. Unfortunately, I liked that a lot more than I enjoyed doing things like my math homework, and I decided that I'd much rather just do computer repair, work on the computer stuff part-time, and not so much apply myself in school. So that got me on a course where I ended up joining the Marine Corps Reserve right after high school. So I did the 1 week in a month, two weeks a year thing. For quite a while, but before doing that, you have to go through Marine Corps boot camp and job school and all of that sort of thing. And so I did a Marine Corps job school to get a Cisco Systems network certification. They actually don't give you the full certification, they give you the first 3/4 or so. And it just so happened that when I was done with that job school, Moraine Valley had the last quarter that I needed to complete the certification. So I got my first Cisco certification when I was still 18, which was great because I thought, wow, I can finally go out and maybe work and make some money right at a very, very early age. But I had this amazing instructor that really taught me, I shouldn't just go out and try to do this right now. I'm going to regret it for my career later on when I'm competing against everyone else that has a bachelor's or a master's. I should really stay in school, get through the Associate of Applied Science program, and she was absolutely correct. That was one of the best pieces of advice that I feel like I have ever received, both from Moraine Valley and just in general, and led me towards the career path that I'm on at Argonne nowadays.
Oh, at Argonne Laboratory. So what is the secret to your success? So you got a terrific start at Moraine Valley, or the end to your certification, some wonderful advice and a good mentor. So what is the key to success in your field?
I would say that it's not, and it took me a while to figure this out, but there is no linear path towards, I want to be a senior network engineer. I mean, very few people, especially in grade and high school, no one really says, I want to be a network engineer when I grow up. It's a field that not too many people are aware of. And I think being able to pivot as your career grows, I started off doing computer repair for a small business, DCV Technologies in Hickory Hills, and then I discovered that, wow, this networking thing is really neat. Maybe I should do that. And so over time, I ended up going to a hacker convention with DCV Technologies. Thought, wow, the cybersecurity thing is even cooler. Maybe I should do that. And I feel like my career has kind of pivoted back and forth between computer networks and servers and cybersecurity. And it's not like I always said, oh, I really want to be in the networking field. It just kind of happened that way. And as you learn more about technology, you find certain things that spark more joy than others. And I feel like networking has been one of those things, and I've just stuck with it.
And Tom, cybersecurity is absolutely huge. It's probably the one thing we business owners, community colleges, hospitals, every network, every system is a little afraid. So what would your advice be on protecting ourselves against any kind of a data attack? Is insurance the best we can do, or is it just getting a really terrific system in place that's as intact as possible?
Yeah, there's just so many different things you can do nowadays, and it almost feels like the bad guys are always one step ahead of the good guys, and trying to right that balance is tough. But I think it's there's no one, there's no silver bullet here. The basics of changing passwords and not reusing passwords. I feel like the password reuse one doesn't get enough attention because let's say you have the same password to your bank account as you do for let's say LinkedIn or your email, Facebook, etc. And your LinkedIn account, someone steals the password. So now what the very first person that the hacker is probably going to do, very first thing they're going to do is try to use that stolen password for your bank account, for your other accounts, and then kind of work their way up the chain until you can cause some serious harm. So I think avoiding password reuse, using the password managers, is definitely one of the best pieces that we can all do. But the other big thing is, at the end of the day, finding the talent that can, really do the building of the fort and the castle to secure small business data. It's very tough work. It's almost thankless work. But I think one of the big things that Moraine Valley is able to do is by training all of these cybersecurity workers, all of these people, even from the help desk roles all the way up to senior Chief Information Systems Officer type people, having that talent here in the community is really something that gives us a competitive edge. The more people that know this sort of thing, that can lock down small businesses, that make sure your doctor's office doesn't fall victim to ransomware, or your dentist office doesn't lose your social security numbers. Having people that can do that work is invaluable to the community, and I think Maureen's doing a fantastic job of producing more of those people.
We are really keeping an edge in that field. Now, one final question for you, Tom, before we talk to Tiffany. How about AI? How is that affecting your field, your career path? Is it something to be embraced? Is it something to be afraid of? What's your thoughts?
A little bit of both, I'd say. And now a lot of people, when AI first came out, were scared of, oh my gosh, is this going to take away all the computer networking jobs? All of these people that are learning to code, is this going to make me irrelevant? And I think that's very untrue, because at the end of the day, we need to build computer networks to talk to the AI, right? So the people building the networks, the people building the infrastructure are, if anything, going to become more valuable and have a lot more on their table. And sure, there is some stuff, some of the boring work, as we call it, writing network configurations, writing little scripts. AI is very good at that, and it's going to take some of that work, but there's just so much work to go around that, if anything, I feel like it's going to be a huge advantage to our space.
Oh, gosh. We're so proud of you, Tom, for getting that great start at Moraine Valley, and here you are at Argonne National Laboratory. All right, Tiffany, let's talk a little bit about your educational path and your experience at Moraine Valley. So take it away.
Well, first I want to say thank you, Eileen, for having me on your show. This is amazing to sit here also with Tom, another fellow alumni from Moraine Valley. I went back to the college 10 years after I had already graduated high school. So I went to DePaul University right out of Eisenhower High School. It was an amazing experience. But then I became impregnated with my oldest son, So duty called. I needed to work to have money to take care of my child. And so I won the Golden Apple Award in high school, which they identified juniors in high school that knew that they wanted to become a teacher. And so I just never let that dream go. I returned back to the college as a returning adult. I was 28, 29 years old, and the rest is history. Moraine Valley really equipped me to be where I am today as a Spanish teacher. So I was a diverse learner teacher for 10 years, teaching students with diverse learning needs. And then when I decided that I wanted to be a language teacher, I took the test and passed, but they said that's not good enough. You need to have 18 college credit hours. So I went back to Moraine and took the 18 credit hours and had it added on to my teaching certificate as an endorsement from Trinity, and here I am.
Oh,
teaching
great.
Spanish on the south side of Chicago.
And I know you are an advocate for the resources here at the college. So what resources, when you came back, and you had mentioned before you were pregnant with your last child when you were 28, 29 and in Moraine Valley. So what resources were available to you? Who helped you stay in college and this time get towards that terrific career that you now have?
Wow, that's a loaded question. There's so many people that actually helped me at the college, but I can say Misty Williams, who's in charge of the TRIO program. So the TRIO program helps disadvantaged college students receive, whatever resources there are that they need at that time. So I was also working at the college. So I worked in financial aid, and then I became a student employee of the TRIO program. And they basically provided me with whatever it was that I needed. If I needed to be connected with academic advising, because I was leaving the college, coming over this way to Trinity Christian College. So they just wanted to make sure that I had all the right classes. The academic advising staff, Sundas, she still works at Moraine Valley. They were very instrumental and supportive in making sure that I took the right classes. If there was anything that I needed emotionally, they would be there for me because it's challenging. I had 3 children, and then I was also pregnant with baby Tiffany. So I was on my 4th child.
Yeah, oh, it's such a great story. Tiffany, you hold now the position as a board member at Moraine, as well as being a board member in the village of it's
Robbins?
The village of Robbins.
Yes.
So when did you start becoming interested in holding public office? Did it go as far back as high school?
It actually went back as far as junior high school. So I know they call the schools now middle schools, but when I was in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, it was Keller Junior High, and I was a member of student council. So I didn't hold any, I wasn't the president, the vice president. I was a member, but I was a very active member. So from Keller, I transitioned to Eisenhower, where I became a member of Youth and Government. Mr. Tamburello was our advisor, and he was amazing. So some of the things that we do now, advocating for the college, and we're in Washington, D.C., or if we're in Springfield, I had knowledge of how to do that previously, before becoming a member on both of the boards. We did lobbying. We would go down for Youth and Government Day, and it was like the real deal. We were in subcommittees. So I had prior knowledge, but now it's like actually putting it to work for other people, in which I absolutely love doing that. I love working for people.
And isn't it amazing how every step we took in life, whether planned or unplanned, is a building block now for what we do. And you look back and it all looks like directed research.
Yes.
I love how the checkerboard, everything comes together. So how do you see our role as a trustee at Moraine Valley? What is our job? Tell our viewers how you see what we do.
Well, our job at the college is to be the caretakers of students' dreams. Not only the students, but to be the caretakers of all the staff, the faculty that are there. The decisions that we make literally help to shape the college. And so as a caretaker, we have to make sure that we're advocating for the students, which includes advocating to state and national legislators for additional funding to make sure that we can fulfill the mission of the college and also our comprehensive plan, which it's all about the students. Without them, we wouldn't be sitting as board members and we wouldn't need any faculty or staff. So that's, I see us as the gatekeepers.
Oh, I love that. And Tiffany, you've been elected to the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee on the National Association of Community Colleges, which is an incredible honor. So tell me a little about how we're doing. I know at Moraine we try really hard. Are we doing good enough? How are we doing as a society? What can we do better?
I think overall we're doing an excellent job at the college. You know, there's opportunity for everyone. You can look around and see just by looking at the people. You know, when it comes down to the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, it is a national committee for the Association of Community College Trustees, and we really try to figure out the work. You know, I don't want someone to just select me because I'm a black woman. I want you to select me because I'm qualified and I can get the job done, period. And so being a part of DEI, there's a lot of focus on that. We are trying to build up our team, build up the people, and I think at the college we do a great job with inclusion, making sure that things are equitable for everyone that is there on every single level. Now, when we're talking about, you know, the global approach, we still have a lot of work to do, and it's just that simple.
Yes, yes, but we're on our way. And viewers, when we were in Washington, D.C. recently in February, advocating for more federal dollars for community college and for Moraine, Tiffany told her emotional story to Senator Durbin, and Senator Durbin was so moved that she got a standing ovation, and Senator Durbin said, "I want to take you on the road with me." So how will you use your emotional story growing up in the projects and to become such a success? How will you use your story to make the world a better place?
I was just sharing with the producers beforehand that, you know, as an educator, I have to let the students know that I'm real. We've all come from a certain place in space. And I think sharing our stories motivates people to know that regardless of where you come from, you can do it if you put your mind to it. You know, I ran a 10K on Saturday. No training. What was I thinking? But my mind was fixed on finishing and crossing the finish line at Soldier Field. It's the same thing. You know, anything that you think you can do, you can actually do it. It's all mental. It's all mental. So we just have to go with our gut and stick with it.
Oh, I love that. Where do you see yourself in 5, 10 years' time? Is higher and higher office in the cards for you?
Yes, I do. And what will that be? I don't know. Only God knows that, you know, but I'm willing to continue putting in the work to make sure that people know, like, hey, when they see me, they know that woman is a worker. And not only is she a worker, but she is going to work on behalf of other people effortlessly.
Oh, I love that. How about you, Tom? Where do you see yourself in 5, 10 years' time? Where is the future going to take you? And what about the public office? I know you and your wife, Colleen, and you have a little baby, Pearl. You're very interested in the community. Watch the library board elections, the school board elections. Would you think about public office?
I'm still figuring that one out. Currently at Argonne, and I should mention that everything I'm saying today is strictly of the opinions of Tom, not necessarily an organization that I'm currently working for or have been in the past. But I did get some experience working on Congressman Danny Davis's Technology Advisory Committee back when we were living in his district, and I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. In fact, there was even one bill in the House of Representatives, and learning about that process and how things even get that far, what was very, very fascinating, where originally it was about trying to get funding for more community initiatives, with internet access and learning to code and things like that. And I spoke up saying, this is fantastic, but what about cybersecurity? You don't necessarily need to know how to code to be really, really good at certain parts of cybersecurity. And they worked that into that draft bill. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I love that work. I think the problem that I currently have is my name is Tom, not Superman, and trying to balance between having the toddler at home, all of the very, very exciting things happening at Argonne, and there's a supercomputing conference I'm also involved with, and trying to get the goals on the technical side to match the everything else side. Every day is, it's never a boring day.
Oh, that's so exciting. What about your unique footprint on the world? You're both very young, but if you had to look back at what you've done so far, how would you want to be remembered? What would be a life well lived for you, Tiffany?
A life well lived for me would include people knowing that I genuinely cared and that I genuinely had love for them. Like, I love everybody. You know, I know it sounds cliche, but this is for real. I love everyone. And as a world changer, it is my duty to be able to connect people to whatever path they want to go. I'm a catalyst, you know, it's my job. And so I want people to know that I am there for them. I am a genuine person, and whatever it is that you want to do in life, you can do it, to just kind of be like their cheerleader. When I was on the trail, I literally saw people cheering me on that I did not even know. When I saw young kids and I knew that they were students, you know, usually I'm like motivating them, but this time I really needed their motivation, you know, and it was so cool. So I just think just being, you know, who I am, the rest is going to take care of itself. I was born on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. That's another interesting fact about me. So I take that very, very serious.
You're a very special
and so
person.
We have to do what we have to do to make the world better.
What about a favorite quote, poem, Bible verse? Is there anything you kind of live your life by, Tom?
Yes, I'm going to misquote it. The real quote has far poorer English and has some more spicier language to it, but it's from Ronnie Coleman. He was a police officer turned international bodybuilding champion, and one of his most favorite phrases is, everyone wants to be a bodybuilder, but no one wants to live the heavy weights. I feel like oftentimes in cybersecurity, everyone wants to be a hacker, everyone wants to do all this, you know, really cool stuff you see in the movies and TV, but, you know, deep diving into the network fundamentals and all the more boring stuff that you have to learn, it's really hard, and not everyone wants to put in that time in the gym.
Oh, that lands, that really lands. What about you, Tiffany?
So I actually have two. So my quote, and it is up for debate about who said it, but when I was a cheerleading coach, we had a lot of obstacles, and we made it to state from Eisenhower High School when no one believed in us. And that quote is, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act but a habit. So for me, you know, I like to walk in excellence. I teach at a school of excellence. And I always share with my students, like, we can't be mediocre, we can't be average. Everything we do has to be done with excellence. And then my Bible verse that actually carried me through when I was right here in your backyard at Trinity Christian College was Philippians 4:13, and that's, I can do all things through Christ Jesus that strengthens me. And I really believe that, especially after the race on Saturday. I can do all things. Yes.
Viewers, it has just been so wonderful to have these two guests. They are indeed heavy lifters, both of them, and wonderful success stories for Moraine Valley. And if you have a child or a grandchild who's just graduated high school, a little uncertain about their next step, maybe a little worried there might be a maturity gap, just think about Moraine Valley, this beautiful college, this marvelous resource that we have right here that is world-renowned, world quality, and a solution for anything that teen or that 20-something in your life might be searching for. So again, a big thank you to my guests, and thank you viewers for watching, and I will see you next time on Where the Road Rises. Goodbye.